Dudes to Dads, brought to you by Dad University, is a podcast to help men understand and navigate the transition of being a single dude into a family man. How do we make sense of it all? Well, we probably won't be able to, but let's go ahead and have some fun trying. And we are back.
We are back.
I'm Jason Kreidman.
I'm Alan Bush.
And this is Dudes to Dads. Again. How are you, Mr. Alan Bush?
I'm doing well, thanks. How about yourself?
Good.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a BS answer.
Good.
I'm doing okay. Feeling good.
Had a good weekend?
Lots of energy. Feeling really good.
Good.
It was a good weekend and ready to have a pretty powerful week. So
Right on. Yeah, same here.
as we approach the holidays.
Oh, yeah, we're getting closer and closer.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. Today's topic, episode 145, raising resilient kids. We're going to give some tips, 10 tips to build resiliency. There's a lot. We're recording this almost as we put it live.
Yeah.
And we're also doing Facebook Live for anybody who joins us there.
Yeah.
We're testing that out for the first time.
Right.
There's a lot right this second in the news about bullying. It's been around for a while, but now it just happened, today and more and such. And so, one of the topics that came to me was about resiliency. And it's like, you can't teach other kids too much, as a parent. You can't affect other parents as much as you'd like. You can't teach the other kids that, might be acting something. But what you can do is, teach your kids, obviously, respect and all those things, but also teaching them resiliency and how to say the word be tougher. But stronger and less prone to being affected by things.
Yeah, it's kind of like deflecting it in a different, way.
Yeah, and it's not just bullying. I mean, there's physical resiliency, there's mental resiliency, there's all kinds of different resiliency.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over a couple of ways that, us as parents can help do that. And I think dads especially really like the idea of having resilient children, just from an ego and masculine standpoint.
Sure.
Whether it's a boy or a girl, it's like, we want them to be able to handle things.
Yeah. And they're going to learn sooner or later that sometimes the world isn't fair or isn't nice.
Totally.
So,
So it's funny. My wife and I had joked a long time ago and to recent, but when they're really little, about keeping our kids in a bubble, right. You don't want anything to happen to them. Of
course not.
They're these
wrap
little
them
precious
in plastic
things.
wrap. And
You just keep them in a little bubble the whole time.
Yeah.
And so, the reality is though, teaching resiliency, it just allows them to, like I said, be strong and also prepare for the future.
Sure.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And so, there's life's up and downs, everything. I mean, I think it's, we talked about, it's bullying, stress, just kind of helping them navigate through life. Maybe a little bit easier is the word. I don't know if it's easier.
Just better prepared.
Yeah, we're all going to face tough situations, tragedy, trauma, etc. So, building resiliency as the parent doesn't always mean like just leaving them and, letting them fend for themselves.
They're on their own.
Yeah. I mean, there's some of that.
Kick them out of a nest.
Right. But having a loving relationship and being there just to be supportive and those kinds of things are really still strong and important in building that resiliency. So, but there's definitely things that we can do to help them build that muscle, and I call it a muscle because it doesn't happen overnight.
Yep.
It is something that takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, in reading a lot of this, I'm noticing too, schools are starting to teach it. They recognizing that it's an important, call it a skill. Or element. And so, schools are teaching it. They're helping them understand how to manage stress and providing life skills. So what I wanted to do is go over a couple of tips that I think help build resiliency in children. Okay. So the first one is let them make mistakes.
Yeah.
We talk about natural consequences, and this, there's a lot of things that are covered here. I mean, this is anything from like not finishing their homework,
right?
To missing a practice in sports and then they get benched as a result of that, But like allowing them to make the mistake and deal with it.
Yeah.
Rather than always trying to cover up for them or make up for them. Even like a child's doing something in school or, and as parents, we make excuses and here's the thing I want to preface. Our intention is typically really good.
Yes.
Our intention is we love our child, we want to support them, but we don't allow them to make mistakes.
Right, yeah, because you want to shield them from all that pain.
Well, we want them to be perfect, and we don't want them to, shielding the pain, exactly. Yeah. So I think, allowing them to make mistakes is an important thing.
Yep.
And they can learn from that. And they start off with little mistakes.
Yeah, right.
And then they get bigger and bigger
I severed
mistakes.
my arm mistake.
Right. And kind of along that lines is the next one, let them problem solve. Mm-hmm. So we and I'll get in, there's a whole bunch of kind of related to this, but we as parents often will try to solve their problems. And us as males try to solve everybody's problems.
Sure.
So we try to solve our significant other as well as our coworkers and everybody else. But trying to solve everybody's problems is not going to let them grow. It's not going to let them build that resiliency muscle. So, things like asking them a question instead of providing the option or the answer, so, these can be really, really simple things. It's like, instead of saying, hey, get upstairs and go shower, it's, hey, what do we do after dinner?
Right.
That's even just them thinking about it themselves.
Sure.
It's asking the question and allowing them to come up with the answer. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we're surprised at, they really come up with some good answers. Even at a really young age, they still can problem solve.
Oh, it's interesting too, because I think they kind of put it in their mind that they thought of it.
Totally.
It's kind of a like psychology. Yeah,
you're building confidence too. Yeah. Definitely building confidence. Mm-hmm. The third thing, don't always accommodate. So again, our intention is typically pretty good, but the end result of accommodating a child can be just taxing.
Right.
I'll give you some examples. They won't sleep on their own because you're allowing them in the bed and or near the floor, whatever, and they have sleep issues.
Yeah.
They don't look at you when they talk to you. Their confidence levels, like they're looking down or something, because or they're fearful of situations. Mm-hmm. So all of those are signs of a lack of resiliency, if you will. Now, that can be changed and it can be, they can grow, and especially when they're really young. But these are things that we do as parents to make it easier for them.
Right.
And we do it out of love.
Sure.
But it's not helping.
Right.
Let me make 4 different meals for dinner. Mm-hmm. No. Yeah. It's not, that's not the answer.
The meal.
But we accommodate, and oftentimes that's what parents do because they love their child. They don't think of it as a negative. They're thinking that they're helping.
Sure.
So don't accommodate all the time. I mean, once in a while. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 4, allow risk. So eliminating all risk is bad. Mm-hmm. There's, and that can be from, climbing on a tree to, doing some other behavior, throwing rocks, who knows? There's 50 dangerous things that kids can do.
Right.
Yeah, you let them do it.
Early episode we did.
Let them do it. Let them do it.
Riding bikes and doing jumps and stuff. Like I remember as a kid, maybe like
I got hurt a lot.
8 years old. Yeah, I've fallen down.
I think they knew me at the ER on a first name basis.
I don't think I hurt myself that badly, but I did skin my knee a few times and bump. I remember slamming my face against this wooden thing, just like almost like broke a thing. And luckily I didn't break anything, but yeah, you just got to let them take a risk,
Yeah, it's allowing that risk is really important.
Yeah.
And so the next one, teach them emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. So, when you're aware and understanding emotions, it helps you cope with things better.
Yeah.
When you know what anger is and how it works and what is that feeling and such, you typically then have a better ability to manage that emotion.
Right.
Just by knowing it and by doing that.
Yeah.
So that's an important one. Another one, practice mindfulness. And that comes up too. So meditation as an example, there's other kinds of mindfulnesses, but that's one. It's a great way of strengthening your mind and teaching yourself or your children calming mechanisms, to reduce stress. And that reduction, that ability to reduce the stress, the ability to calm yourself, kind of like the emotional intelligence, is a form of resiliency. Mm-hmm. It's understanding what the situation is and adapting to that situation.
Yeah.
And being able to do that. So we talk about a lot from, mental or even physical capacity, but really that ability to understand that. I personally, I think meditation, especially for kids, can really add to that.
You find kids can do that?
Guided meditation. Yeah, guided meditation's great. Actually, my kids started on their own. I mean, I had introduced it to them, but they love it at night, especially when they're falling asleep, and they fall asleep great.
Oh, good.
Because they kind of make it like story oriented, or but it's a relaxation technique, and they might say different parts of the body that they're concentrating on and stuff. Yeah. They love it. They really do. They really enjoy it.
I like that it's story. Does it integrate it with like Dr. Seuss, like Green Eggs and Ham? Focus on the ham.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, that might. Hey, that's not a bad idea.
We should try patent pending.
What's the .com for that? Storybook meditations, guided meditations. That's a really good idea. Although there might be some sort of
this probably should have copyright related
copyright infringements.
Don't jump on this too easily.
Yeah. So the other one, exercise. So as we talk about mindfulness, exercise is really the physical resiliency. Making yourself strong and powerful. It's funny, watching a group of kids play like at sports.
Yeah.
You really can see who's physically resilient at that age in comparison to some of the others. Like a ball comes at a kid and like hits them and doesn't know what to do with it, and like he's kind of hurt from the ball, and like versus another kid is just going after it and diving. And it's that. It's just interesting, the dynamics. And granted, it probably evens out a little bit more, but even as adults, I mean, there's different levels of that resiliency. I mean, to its purest form, you take someone who's like a pro fighter or something, and that ability, whether it's the skin or the muscles or whatever, to be able to take an impact, that's that physical resiliency, or a professional athlete, a football player. So, I mean, the ability to take those hits. Yeah. Is amazing, but that's over. I mean, it takes so long to be able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I remember being, as a kid, just kind of speaking on my behalf, I wasn't super athletic. I mean, I ran pretty fast, but I was a fairly strong kid. Like I kind of did a lot of stuff when I was young that kind of built up my strength. So I never really got in a lot of fights, but I could toss kids around if I needed to. It was kind of strange because I was kind of small, but I was a lot stronger than that way I looked. So when kids would like kind of play wrestle with me, I'm like kind of overpowering them. Right, they're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't mess with this kid. Right. So that's even just having that ability to kind of just toughen you up.
Build your confidence a little bit.
And that absolutely built my confidence for sure.
No, it's true. And the physical resiliency, I mean, that comes in handy in so many ways. Just throughout your life of just being strong and being able to handle yourself in a physical manner. Yeah. It really can be important. So that's an important thing as a parent to teach that. And that can be through exercise, just strengthening your muscle, can do that. So another one, introduce them to new experiences. So, get them out of their comfort zone. And that can be all kinds of experiences, from like different foods, cultures, locations. I mean, there's all kinds of things of just doing different things. And oftentimes, kids who have that ability can adapt to things a little bit easier, because they've experienced different things versus like a child who only does this, only goes to this place, only does, they're not building up much resiliency or much muscles at all for that. Right. So I think that's an important one also. And then also, when you get outside your comfort zone and then you conquer it, that's kind of, it builds those little blocks, each time. So that's a good one. Another one, be sure they have responsibilities at home. So the idea of, and this can kind of translate to just work ethic, it's kind of giving them, cleaning, washing, participating in the food preparation, making things for themselves, all those kinds of things helps build up that resiliency, confidence. We can call it whatever we want. Yeah. That's another one too. And oftentimes, parents do everything for their kids. Same thing. They do it out of love. Yeah. Without realizing that they're really hindering, the kid is 5 years old. They're capable of throwing their, clothes in the hamper. Right. It's not something that they should, rely on their parents for. Yeah.
For sure.
Although we just got a cool basketball hoop hamper.
Oh, sweet.
It's awesome.
You gamify it? That's even better.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hopefully it works.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then the last one, and this is a good teaching mechanism, just connecting with characters. And what that means is like from books to movies. Biographies are often good, where there's examples of people who faced adversity or trauma. Almost every movie has this. Every fairy tale has this.
Sure.
Somebody who faced some kind of adversity, overcame it, and then, came up on top, and how did they handle it?
Yeah.
So, and that could be anything that you find that is a good story. That can be something that can really help them identify with that.
Yeah.
Say, oh, the person overcame it or, did that. So those are just some tips. I think, like I said, the climate of bullying talks a lot about, how wrong it is. And it is. I'd love to get on the topic, and I was looking at that of, how it's the parent's fault.
Right.
When a child bullies, it's ultimately the parent's fault, especially young children who are bullying.
Yeah.
Even if they're older, the parent ruined it at a young age.
Yeah, exactly.
But making sure, you can't, kind of the gist of it all is you can't control other people. We can control ourselves. You can't control what somebody else says or does, but you can control your response to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's ultimately a choice on how we let things affect us. And I think resiliency gives us more options.
Yeah.
I kind of like that saying. It's, resiliency doesn't solve everything, but it certainly gives us a lot more options on how things can affect us.
Right.
We have then the decision or a greater control over the decision of like, is that really going to bother me or not?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now you react to it.
Right.
If someone's picking on you or something, or you making fun of you or whatever, like I was, my last name is Bush. So I got teased all the time in school for that, and and it wasn't like after a while you just get used to it for one, and for two you just kind of go whatever,
right.
Like or you make fun of it yourself, and you just kind of develop a different reflex to rather than just feeling hurt and upset all the time.
Yeah, I think a big one that I feel like I focus on this a lot is my children, trying to teach them to not be affected by other people.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
And I've had just a situation this past weekend, and where I tried to say that, and I was no, Dad, it still hurts my feelings.
Yeah, right.
And so, but just keep with it.
Yeah,
that hey, if somebody is bullying or somebody else is doing that or lashing out, there's probably something going on with them, and it's not you.
Right.
And kind of saying that over and over and over and over again. Like even when I get mad, that's ultimately not them, like my children. And I've said that where, there's situations where I've gotten upset and then come back to it and say, listen, I want you to understand, because I'm just aware, like that was not you.
Yeah.
Like you not doing that did not warrant me getting that upset.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So being mindful of that to realize like, hey, it's not my fault. Like other people getting mad and other people lashing out and other people bullying is not that's not me.
Right.
I'm taking it personally. Yeah. So that's just something that I'm trying over and over and over again to instill. And it's difficult.
It is difficult. I actually, I just literally said this to a friend of mine today via text saying, like, don't let don't put your self-worth in the hands of somebody who's willing to tear down others. Right. And then it's good because it's really exactly what was happening.
Tweet that?
You can tweet that. And as long as you quote me on it with a little dash.
At
Alan H. Bush at Twitter.
No, that's cool. So if people have any other tips for resiliency or comments on this, what should they do, Alan?
They should email us, podcast@deucedads.com. We have plenty of social media channels at Deuce the Dads on Twitter, deucedads.com. and Facebook. And then please go to iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, whatever you got, and go to Deuce of Dads. And also YouTube. YouTube has a variety of videos, not just at Dad University and Deuce of Dads. Not just Deuce of Dads there, but also the Dad University videos will provide some great tips for all you dads out there.
That was good.
Good.
That's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff.
It just keeps adding. Like there's more and more.
We got this and this and this.
We have 46 different ways to contact us. But yeah, no, so appreciate that. As always, Alan, thank you.
Thank you.
And we will see you next time.
See you next time.